Hey, Jeff.
Hey there, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Did you? It looks like we went to a lucky game all this last week. They've just screwed
We
up completely.
did. Was it 18-1 was the final?
Yes, sir.
That was
Cons
fantastic. It's
Considering that they lost the three to the basement dwellers, the Baltimore,
Padres.
right?
Yeah. Ugh. So I was pretty happy. It was like, yay, I think I'm lucky charm.
And there was no fire or anything like that. No
No,
firearms.
no. Yeah, it was I was kind of noticing the sky that night. Like that's a weird color for sky. Then I realized the next day was all the forest fire smoke that was coming in from Oregon.
Exactly so. So I
Yeah.
did get your presentation. As you can
Okay.
see, it's on the. If you go down
I
the
saw it on
page
your
here.
website.
There it is. It's
When I
up here.
clicked on the
I got you.
links, yeah, when I
Uh-huh.
clicked on the links, the site plan graphic pops up, but the presentation or photo doesn't. It says file not found or something.
Let's find out. That's not good.
Uh,
All right. Lot. Oh, too many S's in the S.
ah,
So I'm just going to remove one S. And there it is. See?
hooray for small miracles.
Well, when you do the coding, then one can figure this out. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to open up my text editor and I'm going to make the changes and upload those two files, revised files. So
Okay.
here's this.
Um, would you like for me to share my screen for the presentation?
Yes, I'd like you
Okay.
to drive, okay?
Okay. So I already have it
Let,
up on
let,
my screen. So I'll just,
I'm going to introduce some items of interest. I'm not going to assume that's not for me. Okay. So new business, old business. All right, a copy of their presentation right there. That's one. Control save. I'm gonna come over here, do the same thing. We're getting people. We're getting folks to join.
people are popping in.
Chris and Brent, are they with you folks? Are they with you,
Yes.
Bernie?
Yeah, Brent Habercam is our sign consultant from Gable, and Chris Garland is my client.
Okay, so it's still predominantly you folks, so we have to wait a little bit longer.
Okay. Chris and Brent, can you guys mute? There was a little bit of a feedback there.
And John's gonna have to do the same thing. Welcome, John. Did you get your dog taken care of? It's now. Okay. All right. Now the ones that's on the website will be correct. The SS has been removed. It's now just S. It's a good sign. Okay.
Nice to have these
So
little chats before the meeting starts.
it's always a good idea to make sure things work. All right. Lewis, welcome aboard. John, welcome aboard. I appreciate everybody joining us. We just have two items on the agenda, one presentation from a third party and one from our sister Mount Vernon organization. So we're going to share the ground with them. And let's see what I have. So right now, is everybody, hold on, I don't know what they're saying. Okay, so my question is, do you see the Sully Square Shopping Center presentation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm going to switch tabs and go to our main one here. And of course, it's now 7 o'clock. I'm going to give a couple of people a little bit more time. We've got Lou Grimm from Franklin Farm, John Litzenberger, who's the Western Fairfax County Citizens Association Land Use Chair. Bernard's here, Brent and Chris, who are going to also work with Bernard on the presentation. And let's wait until 7:05. So I was just talking to Bernie about the baseball game and mentioning that when all three of us were at the Nationals game against the Marlins, the Nats scored 18-1. And of course, in the last three games, they were wiped out by the cellar-dwelling Baltimore Orioles. So we were just there on a power night.
It was fortuitous.
Yes.
Rescheduled the Sully district meeting, and all good things happened.
Make the assumption, you know. Let's see what else, if I can get some more people's pictures in here. There we go. Catherine Ward is with us as well. She's with Mount Vernon. And she'll speak to us a little bit.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you join us. Here we are in the far west, and you're in the far south, and so between the two of us, we average out to the county. Okay. All right. Let's start with the presentation. The first item that we have is Sully Square Shopping Center signage. Now, we have been dealing with Sully Square Shopping Center, for close to, let's say, 35 years. Back in the day when Service Merchandise and Lowe's was there, the original, and through the time that the shopping stores came and went, and lots of new things have come and gone. But with that in mind, Bernie, why don't you take it?
Okay.
Share your desktop and go from there.
Let me just pop this up. Share. And does everyone see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you, everyone. My name is Bernard Suchicital. I'm a land use planner at Walsh, Colucci, here representing Sully, Second Sully Limited Partnership. Tonight's application that we're presenting to you is for a special permit for the Sully Square Shopping Center, located right there at, let me see if you can get the next slide, located at the southeast corner of Centreville Road and Metrotech Drive. This is part of the larger Sully Place Shopping Center, but we're just focusing our attention tonight on the red outline here of Sully Square. It is zoned to the C8 zoning district with the Highway Commercial Overlay District and the Water Supply Overlay District. There are two buildings on the property. We have the primary shopping center, which is this L-shaped building here, which is about 46,000 square feet. And then we have the smaller bank building, which is around 4,000 square feet. The surrounding area, again, it's primarily surrounded by Sully Place Shopping Center to the north and to the east. That's zone C8, and Sully Plaza to the south, which is a different ownership in a totally different shopping center. That's also C8. On the west side of Centreville Road, you have some light industrial office buildings zoned I3, and then some more commercial properties at the corner of Route 50 and Centreville Road, zone C8. Again, as Jeff indicated, this property has been around for quite a while. The whole area was zoned back in 1962, just right around the beginnings of the Dulles Airport construction to the north of here. So our request tonight is for additional sign area for the shopping center. And just to kind of show you what we are requesting here, here are the picture on the upper left-hand side is a picture of the shopping center, and it's again, it's an L shape. And you have your typical signs for your tenants along the building here. But right in the middle is an arcade that kind of goes into the, you would say, the armpit, if you're looking at the L, away from the drive aisle, and it creates this arcade that really can't, the storefronts, the tenants can't really be seen from the drive aisle or the road further away. And so it kind of creates these kind of unique opportunities that's difficult for the tenants. As you can see, the canopy itself extends a good distance away from the building face. And you we do have some smaller little blade signs off of the building wall itself, but the building canopy extends quite a good bit, and it creates for some interesting calculations. So this is a graphic from the SP plat. The bold dark line, black line, is the building footprint, and as you can see, there's the arcade at the corner, but the red line is the canopy of the shopping center which extends further out from the building face itself. And the sign calculation, when our tenant when the applicant went in several months ago to request for additional sign permits for these units here, it was determined by staff that we do not have enough building frontage to calculate sign area for the shopping center. And as you can see, the shaded units, unit F, G, H1, and H2, are tenant spaces that are accessed from the arcade that does not have any building frontage to calculate. So what we're proposing is for additional signage for 2 of these tenants to be located on the arcade here, above the canopy. And this is what it would look like. This is the building recently received a facade enhancement. There's now a glass panel that allows some additional light to go into the arcade. And we would be requesting a 12 square foot sign for a future tenant and a 12 square foot sign for the Banh Mi Vietnamese sandwich shop, which right now, as you can see here, they have a temporary banner. Already on the arcade canopy sign, we do have a sign for Midas, a sign for A1 Car Care, but in order to get additional signage for the other 2 tenants, we would need an increase. So what is the ask? The ask is basically, based off the linear footage, we have 326 and some change linear feet for building frontage for Sully Square. Based off of the calculation from the zoning ordinance, that gives us 489 square feet of sign area as permitted by the zoning ordinance. As mentioned previously, we have 4 tenants located within the arcade that does not have any frontage to calculate. So in the zoning ordinance, it states that the BZA can approve, by special permit, can approve up to 125% of what the zoning ordinance allows, which calculates up to 611 square feet of sign area. Again, we have 489 square feet permitted as of right. What the applicant requests is 516 square feet of sign area. That is only an increase of 28 square feet of sign area, which is essentially just a 6% increase over the zoning ordinance allowance. And basically, that's our request, and that's what we are going to be presenting to the BZA, I believe September 15, in a couple months. And that's in a nutshell. So we're here to respond to any questions that you may have, any concerns. Jeff, the others, thank you for this time.
You're going to ask, have you discussed this with staff?
We have already received a first round of comments with staff. The only comments was that they just needed some additional clarification on some numbers in our matrix, which we have cleaned up since then. And they just had a couple design comments, which kind of goes above and beyond what the state code allows. The state code pretty much allows for staff to not comment on the content of the signs, but more of the actual sign area. But other than that, they described it as rather a straightforward request with no hiccups. And we're about to submit our second resubmission to staff here shortly.
John, Lou, do you have any,
question, Jeff.
Lewis? Please, John.
Bernie, are there height restrictions from the county for that sign?
I believe it's anything that is, as long as it's attached to the building face,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
So long as the building is meeting the height requirements for the use, then it's fine, and the signs can go pretty much anywhere. It's
Okay.
big thing. It's just the total sign area.
Oh, okay. That's what they're focused on. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's sign area. That's the question here, and that's where we're short. We're short on sign area because we're short on building frontage created by the canopy that extends further out from the building face and then cuts off early, creating this 45-degree angle, and then that kind of really cuts out a lot of other potential building frontage because of the arcade and because of the canopy further out.
Okay.
Okay,
Lewis,
thanks.
do you have anything?
No, not really. It seems like it's one of these unusual situations where the county determinations are not looking at the square footage of the tenant elements, but just that, length of the front of the structure.
Yeah.
So
Staff did
yeah.
provide that this request is rare. It rarely comes up because I don't think very many shopping centers have this situation, especially when an arcade is involved. I think those are more set up for shopping malls. But when you have a typical suburban shopping center in such a configuration, you typically don't have an arcade. That kind of creates the situation.
What are the vendors in FG, H1 and 2?
Unit F, I believe, believe Midas, I could be wrong, but Midas is in Unit F. A1 is in Unit G. A future tenant, so it's currently unoccupied for H1, and H2 is the banh mi, if I have that correct.
And who is to the right as you look at the arcade of Midas?
This here is a kind of the kids. It's the Kids First Swim School, which I think is now currently vacant.
Okay, all right, thank you. Lewis, John, any thoughts, comments?
I would personally say it's like a very straightforward, simple adjustment for informational purposes for visitors to the shopping center. So I don't have any concerns about it.
Okay.
Lewis.
So you had in your slide here, you say the BZA can approve up to 125, which is up to 611 comes, and you're asking for 516. So you're under the threshold at what the BZA can approve.
Correct.
Okay. All right then.
Just a very small increase.
Okay. Well. All right then. I'm going to assume that we have no objections to this.
Okay,
Going once, going twice. We have no objection.
that's great. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you guys tonight. Greatly appreciate it. And you know how to reach me if you have any other questions.
We look for
And
you
again,
at National Stadium.
yes. And again, I do believe we are going to the BZA on September 15th.
Okay then. Well, thank you
Okay.
very much, Bernie. Thank you for sending us the slides and such like that. We appreciate all the information. And thank you for Chris, and thank you for Brent for joining us, the silent partners there, just to show your support. But we do thank you for coming tonight, okay?
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night, guys and girls. Thank you. Catherine? Now, Catherine
Yeah.
is the co-chair, and I think the co-chair of the Mount Vernon Land Use Organization.
No, I am
What are you
co-chair of the Mount Vernon Council of Citizens Associations.
Our sister organization.
Yes. And I don't want to take a lot of your time. Thank you guys for letting me interlope into your committee meeting, community meeting. We have in Mount Vernon District a infill stormwater runoff problem. We understand several other districts have the same thing with newer, larger homes being built on lots in older communities. And the older houses and their yards are getting flooded out. So we've established a special committee for stormwater management. And we are working with the folks in the county staff, as well as a couple of consultants, to look at what the current policies are, ordinances, et cetera, to see what we can do to mitigate this for our our older residents and our newer residents. So we're reaching out to different community organizations to see if they want to jump on board with us. And if you want to do that, if you have your own committee that looks at those sorts of things, I'd love to get you engaged with our committee chair for stormwater management, and we'll just see what we can work out to pressure the county to make this a better place to not get flooded out in, I guess. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, Louis, John, would anybody like to ask Catherine a comment, question, or make a comment?
Well, excuse me, this is Louis. Let me just kind of pose a general question. Thank you for coming to participate in the joint committee meeting we have. Excuse my voice, it seems to be a little dry tonight, but did the county do any analysis for the infill developments to determine what the increased runoff would be and whether that increased runoff could be accommodated in the existing drainage systems for the area?
Well, actually, the county is currently going through a process to reevaluate how they establish their rules and policies about runoff and things of that nature. So that's currently going on. They haven't come up with a solution yet, but they know they need to modify some of their processes, procedures, and ordinances. We want to kind of help them do that. Obviously, when you come in to build an infill, you have to follow the current rules, whether you have to put in a stormwater pond on your property, depending on the size of it, whether you have to drain out all your downspouts and sump pumps and things out to a front county VDOT swale, rather, out in the front of your property. So all those things exist. So it's more of a, what's the current policy, ordinances, and how do we make them tighter so we don't have this problem in the future.
Okay.
John, welcome aboard. Now we can see you. So, but you're still muted.
I go take that call from California, but I took care of that. So I'll be back for at least 10 minutes.
All right. So the question is, have we had reports in our communities of these problems?
On the stormwater ponds?
No, on storm, if someone builds a new house next to an older house in older neighborhoods, and all of a sudden the older house is getting flooded out because of the runoff from the newer property. We're having lots of problems in Mount Vernon District with that. And we're just reaching out to other districts. We know Drainsville has the problem, and we're working with one of the Drainsville residents to get us a meeting with Supervisor Faust to talk about it, because they've got some big problems out there. So we're just looking to see if anybody else has the problems and would like to join us in our quest for what solutions there can be.
Well, I tell you one thing, Catherine, do you know Earl Flanagan?
Oh, of course, dear.
Yeah, well, he and I are old buddies.
Yes.
And I know
You
he
have to
and
be
I
old buddies
discussed
with
this when
Earl.
I took him to lunch a couple months ago. And the thing is, out here in Sully, most of the subdivisions are less than 40 years old. So we don't have the McMansions going in. But my daughter lives in Vienna, Hunter Mill District, and they do. And that's a huge problem. You got to reach out to Hunter Mill also.
Oh, we are. We're reaching out to everybody we can through people we know, because we're Mount Vernon Council's Fairfax Federation members. So that's how I know Jeff, and I'm reaching out other ways as well. And actually, we were very lucky, for those of you who know James Pattison, who was DPWS. Yes, James consulted to us pro bono, since he now has his own company that consults back to the county and other places. So he was very helpful initially to get us organized on what to look for, what to think about.
Well, this is Lewis again. I mean, it is a significant problem. I've noticed just over the last 5 years in particular, very dramatic changes in the Vienna area, very dramatic changes, infill redevelopment in the city of Fairfax, quite a bit in other areas, City of Falls Church in particular.
Yeah.
I think large portions, call it the older inside the Beltway areas predominantly, are going through a lot of infill redevelopment. And that's just putting more pressure on everything in those areas.
But even Mount Vernon,
Absolutely.
we're talking about that. They're definitely not inside the Beltway. Catherine, aren't you
No.
pretty much south to that?
Yeah, we're right outside
Yeah.
of Old Town, the Mount Vernon District and Lee District. The building here is just horrific. And the bad problem for us is in the older neighborhoods, when they were originally platted back in the 40s, they were 75,000 and 7,500 square foot lots, and people bought multiples of them. So, and they built a small house in the middle. Well, now the developers are coming in, buying these houses up. And because it's already platted and the current owner hadn't consolidated, the builders are now, for what had a small house on 15,000 square feet, are now being able to put 3 houses on them. And they're doing these shotgun houses, and that's what they're building all over in the older neighborhoods. It's a real problem. And they build up a little bit, and the smaller, shorter houses that are next door are just being inundated with water. So anyhow, if anybody's interested, if you want to go out on the Mount Vernon Council's website and go under the special committee page, it has all the information we've gleaned to date from our various consultants and people from the county and things of that nature. And like I said, we just started this in March, had our first meeting in April. And we're just looking for folks that have good ideas that are having the same problem, so we can do this as an entirety of the citizenry of Fairfax County and not just ones off. That's all. So.
Well, let me refer this to our membership. Do you
Sure.
have, if I went to the Mount Vernon Community, mvcca.org site, is there a page or
Yeah, it's
area
under
I should look at?
under special committee, stormwater. They have their own page.
Okay, so I will create a link to that and send that out to our membership.
Sure. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you for your time, gentlemen. I
Thank
hope
you,
have a
Catherine.
great evening. All right, take care.
Same to you,
Bye-bye.
Catherine. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us, Catherine.
Certainly. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to share back to the my document here and go over a little bit more of the agenda now that I can find out where I am. So let's find
Mhm.
out where this is and share. Uh,
I was almost
Share.
tempted to ask the question if the situation in Mount Vernon is being advertised as more affordable housing.
Well, it's more housing, as the saying goes, right?
Yes, yes.
All right,
The
as
more
Jim
the
would
better.
say, yay, more housing, right? Okay, so we just went through, oh, no, where am I now? Wrong, I don't want a new tab, I want here. Okay, so going back to this, okay, so we did this, you can see the Sully Square Shopping Center signage, right?
Right.
And from there, we had stormwater and utility undergrounding from Catherine.
Right.
Now, the old business, I just want to go over, uh, in 2 days hence, we're scheduled to have our Sully District Council meeting, and that's going to be on the county libraries. We did it, about 5, 6 years ago. Liz Walker, who's the Sully trustee of the library board, Christine Jones is the deputy library director, and we have two people, Helen and Ingrid, who work in Centreville and Chantilly. So those are the two libraries in Sully. Coming up for the next couple of months, right now we have nothing scheduled in August. We'll see if anything is required. I'm still waiting for the League of Women Voters to tell us whether or not we're going to have the legislative candidates night or emergency services. And again, we're switching to September or October, depending on the League of Women Voters. We're going to let them drive. We have the 15th of December, we have Dulles Airport. And then on November, we're going to do one of the other two of the things that are blocked out for the League of Women Voters. Now, at our June meeting, Susan Yanktis made a presentation regarding the Commonwealth Center at Westfields. We asked that they provide responses regarding airport noise and pedestrian safety and aesthetic enhancements. Too many ads. I have to take care of the ads, which are addressed in the attached letters. If you click on the letter, you'll hear the response. Here's some items of general use. The plus system, where you can get information about land use matters. As you may be aware that last week, the Transportation Planning Board reinstated the HOV hot lanes in Maryland so that those in the state of Virginia will have something to meet in the state of Maryland, and theoretically you'll be able to go up 270. They have not yet planned to connect the area between 270 and 95, but at least the American Legion Bridge will be taken care of. Here's some upcoming events. The home-based businesses on the Wednesday, real estate taxes are due Wednesday, online forum on housing equity and race, Friends of Trees, FCD talking residential feedback on parking requirements, Virginia Redistricting Commission, if you're interested in that. Then start of Fairfax County Schools in person, August 23rd, Community Fire and Rescue Academy, accessory structures and other regional changes. We'll have a lunch and learn, and I'm hoping they're going to provide lunch. No, never mind. I doubt that. And then so I said the next meeting of the SDCCA is on the 22nd of September, and Susan Yankis will come back and discuss an additional building to provide a support building and reduce the building height on the South Secure Office Campus. The ones basically across from Franklin Farmers Chantilly Islands. That's what we have scheduled, and I think that's about everything we have. Any other comments as such?
None here.
Okay, so Louis, you and Jim will be able to take care of Wednesday's meeting.
Right.
Let me ask you, since I'm not going to be there Wednesday, do you have any report back from the nominating committee?
We've had one meeting so far. I've got to get another one scheduled. I think one of the things between myself, John, and Jay, we're kind of discussing things, and there was some talk, and John would appreciate your thoughts on this as well. But Jay was saying that what he was kind of seeing and hearing was that it looked like maybe the Western Fairfax Citizens Association might be kind of going away.
Well,
That might provide possibly an opportunity to kind of reblend and merge the two groups together.
well, I know there's some stalwarts that would, hell would freeze over before they'd agree to that. So Jeff and I have had this conversation, as you knew, 10 years ago when I was a plan commissioner. I tried to get them together and I failed.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I think if we just keep going as we're going, eventually they'll just get used to doing everything together, and then it'll be one committee. The thing is, Sully District represents a lot more people, a lot better organized. West Fairfax goes back to October 1980. So we have a lot of standing in other parts of the county.
Now, I did note that our last couple of meetings, there were many folks from Western Fairfax who participated. When we had the legislative report in, was it May or June?
Right,
There were,
right.
we had Ted there and some others who joined from Western Fairfax. So I was happy to see that. We didn't charge them admission though.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing I know that in our discussion that Jay mentioned, he was going to reach out to some folks across Virginia Run that he thought might be interested in some of the Sully District positions that were available. I think that's one of the things that we were kind of collectively talking about, is that a lot of us have been involved with these activities for a long period of time, and that it's always challenging to find successors to kind of come in to things.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing we're going to try to identify if we can.
That's good. We can also think about shuffling some of the offices. I mean, there's no need necessarily. Lou, would you move up to president or first VP? And I served as president years ago. Mark took over, and I've been the liaison to the Fairfax Federation for many years as first VP. But I'll let it up to you folks. And if you don't report back in July, at least give us a heads up, and we can send something out in August so people will be aware of the progress.
Okay, we'll do that.
And the good news is that Lou and I are now co-signatures on the Sully District Council financial account, which means that we can actually don't have to worry about only one person co-signing with Jay. There are more than one person that can co-sign. That makes it a little bit easier. And I actually did do, Lou, the first online deposit.
Yes, I did see that.
That took a while. And I was impressed with Wells Fargo when they have you on hold. They say, and now we're going to refer you to a banker. They didn't say a customer service agent. They didn't say a teller. They didn't say, and I said, well, that's good. That means the people who work the back office have that name. And I think that's a good thing to do. You have a little bit feeling of, oh, I'm talking to a banker who's only a CSA, but it doesn't make a difference. It's nice to be
That's right.
You're working with a banker, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's always good. Always good.
Yeah. So that's good. As opposed to now we're referring you to the guy who's running shotgun. Oh, well. All right. In any case, thanks guys for joining us tonight.
Okay.
And I will send something out with Catherine. And I finally learned how to do something I've been trying to do for years. I now have a software program that I can play recorded TV shows and incorporate them directly into my computer. And so now I'm in the process of saving all the recorded TV shows on TiVo of testimony to the Board of Supervisors and making snippets of them. And then I'm going to post them online so you can hear and see, if, in the cases where we actually are visible, what we said to the BOS.
Oh, good. That's great, Jeff.
It took a while, but I had to get convert HDMI to S video, then S video to USB video.
Oh my
and then,
gosh.
But
Good thing you're retired.
well, yeah. You played around with all these dongles, right?
Yeah.
Single dongle. All right. In any case, thank you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Great rest of the
Thanks,
summer.
Louis.
See you in September, or no, I'll see you in August for the Sully District land use. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Thanks.
Very good.
Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.